Hey y'all, how you doing? Dana here, and I'm gonna give you a quick recipe with 4 ingredients that is comfort, and it's Mama Holt's potato soup. You need potatoes, butter, milk, and flour. And of course, you know, I think a freebie salt and pepper, so you need salt and pepper as well. But I'm gonna show y'all how to make how I make it in my family. Now, how did I come up with this recipe for Mama Holt's potato soup? Well, when I was a young married, I say young married, my kids were about, the oldest one was probably 10. Mama Holt, David's grandmother, moved beside us on the farm. And she was, you know, she raised a bunch of kids. She had a lot of kids, 11, and raised 13, or had 12, and she had a lot of kids. And she was always in the kitchen making them some good food. Now, I'm going to tell you about Mama Holt. She didn't measure. She just went in there and cooked. But the good thing about her is she knew what kids like to eat, and she knew what my kids like to eat, because they would come home from her place and they would rave about whatever she had fixed them. And one of the things that they loved that she fixed was potato soup. And so I thought, you know what? They love it, and I need to get that recipe from Mama Holt. So I'll just call her and get the recipe. So I called her on the phone, even though she lived right next to me. You know how we were. Called her on the phone, and that was those phones that has the wires on them, not the kind we do now. And I said, okay, Mama Holt, I don't know what you've done to my kids, but they're wanting some of your potato soup. So can you tell me how to fix it? And she said, yes, I'll be glad to, because she was very sharing that way. And I said, okay, what do I need? And she said, well, you need milk and flour and butter. And I said, yeah, I've got all that stuff. And she said, and you need some potatoes. And I said, well, okay, how many potatoes do I need? And she said, just how many ever you got. And I said, well, wait a minute now. Do I need 2 potatoes? Do I need 10 potatoes? And so basically what you have in this recipe in my cookbook called Mama Holt's Potato Soup is a recipe that's a starter recipe. And if you need more, we call for 3 to 4 pounds of potatoes in it, but if you need more and are feeding more people, you just add more potatoes. Therefore, if you add more potatoes, you add more salt, butter, and all that kind of stuff. Now, let me put my glasses on and I'll read it to you so you'll know. Mama Holt's Potato Soup, y'all, it's on page 39 of my book called Happiness is Homemade. And if you don't have this book, you can get an ebook off of Amazon, or you can go to Amazon and just order it and it'll come to your house. Anyway, here's the soup recipe. 3 to 4 pounds of potatoes and salt and pepper to taste. Now, Mama Holt would never tell you how much you needed. She would just say, according to what your family likes. So salt and pepper to taste. And then butter. And she never did tell me how much butter to put. So you just have to put how much you want. Now me, I put a whole stick in there, and then I taste of it. And if it needs a little more, I just put it in there. You know, might as well. And then a half a cup of milk. Now that's to start with. If you're doing 5 pounds of potatoes in your potato soup, then you're going to need more. But what we're doing today is a half a cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of flour. Now the milk and the flour is going to help thicken it up, and it's going to make it taste really good. So that's the way you make it. And the first step, or that's the ingredients. The first step that you have is to peel and dice your potatoes. Now y'all, I know you might know this, but I'm just going to show you how I do my potatoes, okay? Now, this right here is my little vegetable brush, and so I cleaned and scrubbed and washed all my potatoes. And this is a sample of the potato. Now, y'all, these right here are called the eyes of the potatoes, and you don't want this in your soup, so you take them off. Okay, just get rid of them. And then you're going to peel your potatoes. Now, some people use potato peelers, but I use a paring knife. A lot of old Southern cooks like myself and like my mother. Now, she's not old, she's young. Anyway, vintage Southern cooks, we didn't have those paring things, and so we did them like this. Now, you can do it how you want to, but the main thing is to peel your potatoes. Get those babies done. But anyway, so here's the potato. Now we got it fixed, and now we got to chop it up. And I advise doing it in bite sizes. You don't want a big hunk. You want it in bite sizes. So when you get it, it's a nice little size. This is how I do mine. And y'all, I've got a cutting board here that's over my sink, so it's really handy. So anyway, this is how I do mine. All right. So you got the nice little bite-sized pieces, and you know these are going to shrink a little bit as you get ready to drop them, as they cook. All right, now let's move on with making this potato soup. Now earlier, y'all, I wish y'all know Mama Holt. She was so wonderful. But earlier, I put the soup, all of this in the pot with water. Y'all see that there? Now Mama Holt said, I said, how much water, Mama Holt? And she said, just how much ever, just cover the potatoes. So, you know, I had to wing it, making all this stuff, but it was okay. My nanny gave directions the same way, so it worked out just fine. Now, let me get y'all situated without dropping you. Okay, so let me tell you what we're going to do now. You got to know how to test your potatoes for doneness, and these have been boiling for a little while. So what you do is get your big spoon, and you just pull up a few in your spoon. You get a fork. This is real easy, people. And you just poke one of the potatoes. If you can go straight in with no resistance at all, you have got a good potato. Your potatoes are done and they're ready to go. So now we're going to turn this pot of potatoes and water into some really comforting potato soup. Y'all, I tell you, kids love it. And make a big pan of cornbread with it, and you've got some happy kids. First, I like to put the butter in. And what I'm going to do right now is put a whole stick of butter. Now, y'all may think it's a lot, but just look at this. If you divide it up by one bowl, it's not that bad. So anyway, I'm putting a whole stick in here. There you go. Now, you know that's going to be good. And the next thing we got to do is add some salt and pepper. I'm going to put about a half of a tablespoon. I'm going to start with that. Now, look, you can always add more later, but you can't take it out. So we're going to add this in here and get the salt going. And you know what else? We're going to add some pepper. I like a lot of pepper in mine. Now, if you've got a lot of little kids eating it, you've got to decide how much pepper you're putting in there. But I got kids that like it, that's going to be eating it, me and my husband and all that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some milk, and we got to make our slurry. Now, y'all, this is my little cup with flour in it. We're going to pour this in here, and we're going to whip it up with a fork, okay? And the reason we're doing that is trying to get it melted like, you know, and dissolved in there without many lumps. But if you do get lumps in it, it's what I always tell you when we're making something. The sun is still going to rise tomorrow if you get a lump in here. Don't fret over it. I will show you what to do, because there will be some lumps in here when I pour this in. So it's nothing to worry about, and don't think you're a bad cook. It's okay. It's all right. Everything's going to be all right. Y'all just need to not stress so much. All right, I got the flour in here, and I'm getting ready to do the stuff. Ooh, whisk, whisk, whisk. Y'all see I'm making a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. I know how to clean. All right, this is what we're doing. We're just getting that flour going. It's melting. It's looking pretty good. All right, now what I'm gonna do is pour it in here. Y'all can see what happens. All right, here we go. Pour it in slowly, and y'all see those lumps. And see, I'm not crying, everything's fine. Now what we're gonna do is get it to go in on a boil, on a good boil, and those lumps are going to disappear. And sometimes I take the little lumps and I just push them to the side and press, and that helps as well. But now that's got to get boiling again, and it's coming up, and we got to keep an eye on it because we don't want to scorch anything. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to make to go with it. Sometimes I put with it, I sprinkle cheese over it. Oh, they love that. Take some cheese, cheddar, whatever kind of cheese you got, and sprinkle over it before you serve it. And I also take sometimes bacon and sometimes ham. But all right, let me show you what's happening with the potato soup. Y'all ready? Look how good that looks. It's bubbling and frothy, and it's gotten thicker. See how much thicker it's gotten? And look, where did the lumps go? They're all disappearing as you take it to a boil. Now, y'all know what we got to do, and I've always told you this. We got to taste the food. We are the first line of defense against bland, boring food, and we've got to taste it. And it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, that is so good. I need a bowl. But anyway, listen, this tastes delicious. I don't need to do anything to it except maybe add just a little bit of pepper. So that's what I'm gonna do. And y'all, that Mama Holt, she used to just cook and cook and cook. And she fed a lot of kids. And one day, I'll tell you what about the biggest turkey she ever cooked. It's a funny, funny story. And the story's in the book. If you know, in my cookbook, there's a lot of stories in there about days gone by and things that our families lived through. And it's stuff that your family probably lived through too. So, you know, we are resilient and tough, and the good Lord watches over us, and he's going to watch over us now, and he'll watch over you too. Well, let me get a taste of this with cornbread. It looks a little hot. Hold on. Oh yeah. They're going to love me for this. They'll keep me around one more year maybe. Oh, that is good. The good Lord loves you, and I love you too. And y'all try some of these recipes and feed your family. You're going to love them. Mama Holt knew what she was doing. She cooked for lots of kids. So y'all try this recipe. And if you want the book, it's available at Amazon.com. All right, y'all. Love you. Talk to you later. I got to get to cooking. I got to make some brownies for those grandkids. Love you. Bye.